Good afternoon. Welcome to the Senior Concerns Seminar Series. I'm Martha Shapiro, the Director of Programs at Senior Concerns. For those of you that might not be familiar with us, Senior Concerns is a 47-year-old nonprofit in the Conejo Valley. Our core programs are our Meals on Wheels program, which has recently expanded. So we serve Thousand Oaks, Newbury Park, Westlake, Oak Park, and Agora. We also run an adult daycare program that is on site, a place for older adults with some cognitive or physical impairments to come during the day and enjoy socialization and activities. We have senior advocates that can answer any sort of resource or benefit question. And then, of course, we have our wonderful Caregiver Resource Center, and we offer caregiver support groups as well as one-on-one care consultations. So you can learn more about us at seniorconcerns.org. For our seminar today, I'm really excited about this topic. It's really important and dear to my heart. I recently had a good friend whose father-in-law was scammed out of over $10,000, and it was just heartbreaking for the whole family. So I think the more we can get this type of education and prevention out there, it's just so important for all of us. So today we'll be presenting how to protect yourself and your loved ones from scams and fraud. And it's presented today by Kellie Tyndall, who's a senior victim advocate with the Ventura County District Attorney's Office. Kellie is a member also of the Ventura FAST team. That's the Financial Abuse Specialist team. Kellie collaborates with other groups and agencies to educate the public, families, and providers about exploitation and fraud against our senior population and vulnerable adults with disabilities. Kellie is passionate about her job helping victims and preventing others from becoming victims. I'm so glad she's here with us today. And then she'll also be introducing later in the presentation, Carey Aldava, who's the Adult Protective Services Program Manager for the County of Ventura. So thank you both for being here. And I will turn it over to you, Kellie.
Okay. I'm going to try to share my screen. Sometimes I have technical challenges. I do have some younger people here that can help assist me if I get into trouble. So bear with me. Sharing my screen. Share. I think we're good to go. Let's go on. No. We're working on it. We're working, I promise. I'd like to get it on slide mode. So let's see if I can figure that out. I know I can. I know I can.
It does say slideshow at the top. Oh, you lost it.
Yeah, but there's something else in the way of it. Look at there. I want to go to slide. There. Can everyone see it? Thumbs up.
Yeah, looks good.
So if I get into trouble, please let me know, and I'll try to fix what I can. So this is me, Kellie Tyndall, Senior Victim Advocate. This is my address at the Hall of Justice, my contact information, and this slide will be up at the end of the presentation as well if you need it. If you have any questions, most of the people I talk to, they may have a few questions at the beginning, and then they go away and they're doing their dishes, and all of a sudden they go, I should have asked. If you get into that situation, my phone number is on the screen and my email. I can respond faster sometimes to emails than I can to phone calls because I sit in court a lot. The judges, they don't take kindly when I start talking on my telephone during a court session. So emails are probably faster. Let's go on to the next one. Martha, I'm not going anywhere. Oh, here we go. This is our DA, Ventura County District Attorney, Eric Nazarenko, and he's the reason that we're here today. He's passionate about making sure that we do outreach for prevention. Prevention is a lot easier than prosecution of fraud and crimes of financial matters. Sometimes they're out of the country and they're harder to prosecute, and it's much easier on everyone if we just try to prevent than have to prosecute after the fact. The topics we're going to cover today: Crime Victims Assistance Unit. That's the unit in the DA's office that I'm a part of. We're also going to talk about safety on the internet, how to keep your ATM card safe, and of course, how to protect yourself from fraud and scams. Criminal justice system. Most people believe that the criminal justice system is what they see on Law and Order on TV. It's not always like that. You know, on one screen, you'll see the crime was committed, and then right after the commercial, they're into the court process, and all of a sudden it's done and over with. That's not how it happens in real life. Quick rundown of what happens is the crime's committed. The crime is reported to one of the law enforcement agencies in the county. They come out, hopefully they arrest, and they start their case. They start working their case and putting the case together. And once they've got all the evidence in their case together, they submit it to the DA's office. And in the background, you'll see the Hall of Justice there. So they submit it to the Hall of Justice, the DA's office. A group of DAs will look at it and say, yes, there's all the evidence here. We need to prosecute this case, need to file it right away. They'll run downstairs and start the filing process with the court, and the case begins in the court hearings. But if there's not enough evidence, the DA may say, hey, we need some more evidence in this case. They'll talk to the law enforcement agency and send it back to them for further investigation or further proof of what happened in the crime. But the good thing is, once a crime is reported with law enforcement, victim services can kick in. Even if it's not in the court session yet, the victim advocates can start helping the victim of the crime right away. As soon as there's a police report submitted, we can start with whatever the victim may need to meet immediate needs, and we can make sure that they're a part of the criminal justice system and what happens. Oh, look, some more stuff popped up. These are the different agencies and law enforcement agencies in the county that report to the DA's office, report the cases for them to be filed. The district attorney's office. Currently, there's approximately 106 prosecutors. That number may vary slightly at different times. There's over 50 district attorney investigators. So once the crime is reported and the case is put together and submitted to the DA's office, it's usually submitted by a detective from that law enforcement agency. It's passed off to the DA's office. The DA's office assigns an investigator to further investigate the case and compile whatever other data that needs to make sure that case is prosecuted. There's about 34 victim advocates. We are scattered throughout the county. We have victim advocates in the East County and victim advocates in the West County. And we specialize with different services. I work with elder victims. Anyone over the age of 65 is usually on my caseload, but they vary. And of course, we're cross-trained, so we can work with any victim in the county. We have various units in the district attorney's office. There's high crimes, there's DUIs, rape, family violence, domestic violence, human trafficking. There's a wide variety of units in the district attorney's office, and we all specialize and work with that specific crime. So we make sure that we have all the brightest minds to prosecute that case. These are our newest victim advocates at the DA's office. There's Comet, Star, and Tracker. They help victims with prosecuting if they have to go into the court to testify, if they have to come in for any investigative interviews or exams. The new victim advocates can help ease the pain a little bit. And just having Star sitting there, whether head on your knee, really makes life a little easier when you're testifying. And we take the new advocates into the court with us. Any victim can ask for a support animal during their testimony, and we do that often. We have the Family Justice Center. We have a Family Justice Center in Ventura, and they help with restraining orders, and they have an umbrella of a lot of services in this building. If you need help with social services or you need help with finances, or child development or legal aid or housing or shelter. You know, if you're a victim of domestic violence, there may be a lot of different services that you need right then to meet the basic needs of you and the family. Family Justice Center is a part of that, and they can make sure that you're getting those vital services to stabilize you and the family. We're opening up one soon in Oxnard. Right now we have one in the county, but one's coming up in Oxnard soon. The primary goals of the Crime Victims Assistance Unit, of course, we want to reduce the trauma of the victim. We want to make sure that we're sensitive in how the victim is being treated and interviewed, making sure that we're trauma informed and keeping that victim away from any undue stress. We always want to make sure that they're a part of the process. If they want to be part of the court process, or they want to know what's going on, they need to have their voice heard in court, and we're there to make sure that they do that. We give court support, make sure their victim rights are honored, and also supportive services. If they need referrals to other agencies, or if they need housing or emergency help with whatever's going on, we're going to make sure that we refer out to meet their basic needs. This is a wonderful thing that most people don't know about. If they become a victim of a violent crime in California, there's the Victims of Crime Compensation Board. And this is a board that can help fund things that because of the crime. Let's say you had medical expenses and you don't have insurance that would cover that medical expense due to the crime. This service can help pay for that. It's easy to apply. There's a square up in the top middle there. It says scan to apply. Hover your phone camera over it, and it'll take you right to the link to apply for this fund. This fund is not tax dollars. It's not our tax dollars that are paying the victims of violent crime. The funds in this compensation comes from convicted criminals in court. Convicted criminals in court are made to pay restitution, but they're also made to pay fines and fees. And part of that goes in this pot of money. So this pot of money is sitting there for victims that need it most. And victim advocates can help you apply for it and make sure you get it. For example, I get victims of, let's say, home burglary, or for some reason they're worried about their home security. I can get reimbursement for cameras or security systems. Ring doorbells come in handy a lot, and a lot of my victims feel comfortable once they have a Ring doorbell or some surveillance equipment, and I can help them with that through victims of compensation, victims of crime compensation. So it's easy to apply. If you're a victim of crime, as long as there's a police report, we can get that started. Here is a video. Let's see if it works. No, I did. And next. Oh, this is just a picture. It's not a video. It says you've won. How many people get this exact thing in the mail or something very similar to it? You won a dream home. I don't know why I keep getting that message. You've won a dream home. Please call now. Well, it's a scam. Most likely you haven't won anything. How many times do people get that in the mail? Identify your junk mail. Make sure you get rid of that. It's very serious when you see something like this and you get a call a week later and you say, hey, you've won $2 million. Most likely you haven't won. And this is a scam that they've started with a mailing and then they're ending with a telephone call, because that gives credibility. They put it in the US Post Office. You know, you think that that's a federal crime. Why would anyone do that? Well, it's because they get away with it every day. If you get something like that in the mail, think about it. If you just won a lottery, did you actually apply for that lottery? Did you put in for that lottery? Most times you didn't, but they're saying you won. You can't win a lottery without playing the lottery. So watch your scams, especially in the mail or telephone calls. I get lots of telephone calls every week, and people say all the time, well, I'm on the national registry and they still keep calling me. They keep calling. Why are they calling? I did the national registry. Well, the call centers are the marketing groups that look at the national call registry, that follow the laws. They may not call you, but most of the criminals out there that are calling you, they don't pay attention to that call registry. That's not something that they're really concerned about. So don't answer your phone. If I could say one thing to keep you safe from scams, don't answer your phone unless you know that caller. If you know that phone number, you know that name, put it in your call in your cell phone. This is John calling me. It's John. If it's a number you don't recognize, let it go to voicemail. If it's John calling from his girlfriend's phone, he's going to leave you a message. Then you can call him back, but don't answer your phone. There's too many scams out there with just phone calls. Let it go to voicemail, because if they get 1 out of 50 people to answer that call, they've got one person that may be ready to fall for a scam. And not that you're falling for a scam. These people that are scamming these days are highly trained. They're college educated. They've got lots of technology. They've got lots of advances. Their main job is to scam you out of their money. On my caseload currently, and I work with victims of financial crime, I've got cases where I've got retired bankers. I've got retired stockbrokers on my desk right now that are victims of financial scams. Don't feel like, it's your slight, that something is wrong with you because you were scammed. No, there's nothing wrong with you. It's just that they're so advanced now. Be careful of every call you get. On most phones now, you can go into the settings of not answering, being able to not answer the call unless it's in your contact list. That's what I do. I've cut down probably 90% of my just robo calls from going into my phone setting and only answering the calls that are in my contact list. Otherwise, they're going to go straight to voicemail, and I can choose to answer it or choose not to answer it. Talking about, I see on here that I put shred your letters. Recently, I've discovered that I'm killing my shred machine. I'm shredding so much, I'm getting so much junk mail, and then I put it aside and I'm stacking up letters. I've started with a stamper that stamps out my personal information, and then I just rip it up and tear it and throw it in the trash. A stamper that stamps out your personal information is good to use as well. Wouldn't this be great if you had this on your phone? Incoming calls, scammer calling. I wish everything was that easy. It's not. It's very hard to identify a scammer. When they're calling you, they're your friends, they're professional, they could be the bank. Don't give out your personal information to anyone over the phone. No agency is going to call you off of the cuff, not, without your permission ahead of time. They're going to do things by mail. And usually if you're seeking out services, you're seeking it out. They're not calling you to try to give you services. You're not going to get the IRS that says, you owe money and to send me a gift card. They don't do that. They do it by registered mail. I know because I owe the IRS and I've gotten that registered letter. Don't fall for that scam. Here's one that's really good. The gift card scam. This happens so often.
Let's say someone calls and says he's from the IRS. He says you owe taxes and need to pay right away by getting a gift card at the store. Should you do it? No. It's a scam. Government agencies will never make you pay with a gift card. Now let's say the caller claims to be from a tech support company. He says he needs to fix a problem with your computer after you pay him with a gift card. Should you? No. That's a scam too. Real tech support companies don't work like that or make you pay with a gift card. What if you get a call from someone who says she's a relative or friend and needs money right now? She begs you to go buy her a gift card. Should you do it? No, that's also a scam. Gift cards wouldn't help real family members or friends in a real emergency. Gift cards are for gifts, not for payments. Anyone who tells you to pay with a gift card is a scammer. And once you've shared the gift card number and PIN, your money is probably gone. So what do? If you have paid with a gift card, contact the company that issued the card right away, and then tell the FTC. Reporting to the company and the FTC helps us fight these scams. Go to ftc.gov/giftcards to learn more about how to protect yourself and others.
Why report? You can just say, well, I was taken advantage of. I'm just going to let it go. That happens so often. People are shamed and embarrassed, that they got scammed or are taken off guard. It's because these people are trained. They're highly trained to trigger you with an emotional response. They can't get you unless usually they get an emotional response. And most of us react when we have our emotions involved. We want to help someone. We believe in what they're saying. That's emotional response. Anytime that you're getting someone that's asking you to do something right away, they're getting insistent and you're stressed and you've got to do it right now. It's an emergency. You don't have to do anything right now. You take a break, stand back, think about it. Get off the phone, hang up, unplug, whatever you need to do, because there's nothing that you need to do that's a rush like that. And when they get you in a rush and they've got you emotionally attached, that's when you're gonna fall for the scam. I had one victim that had the scammer on the phone with her when they explained to her that she needed to go to Walgreens or CVS and that she needed to buy these gift cards. And they told her at what price and how many to buy and what she was supposed to say when she got there, because Walgreens and CVS are doing trainings on how to spot someone that's been scammed. Like if someone comes in and buys 2 dozen gift cards, ask why. Well, they've been trained to do that and look for someone that's falling victim to a scam. So she was told by the scammer to go in and they've given her an elaborate lie that she was supposed to tell them that she was going to a family reunion and the whole family decided to give the children each $100 gift card. And she bought 15 of them. And she was on the phone, with the scammer telling her what to say. And she told this to CVS manager. They said, well, that sounds legitimate. Okay, let's help you. It was a scam. She lost her money. Just don't fall victim to anything when you've got to be rushed. Take your time, think about it, talk to a friend, talk to the next door neighbor, take a break, talk to the dog, get a glass of tea, figure out that you can make these decisions in a calm setting where you're not emotionally drawn into the scam. Let's change the subject. How to keep your ATM card safe. Well, when all possible, go inside the bank. Don't, do your banking outside if you can do it inside. That's a safer location. There's security there. There's security cameras. Get your money out during the daytime. Daylight's best time. Go to an ATM if you have to, and that if you want to go to one outside, go to one in a busy public location, the one that you know about. Don't go to a ATM in a dark alley. Not that there's one in a dark alley, but just make sure that you're familiar with the setting and that you're going when you're not by yourself. And I have to tell you this, don't share your password with or your pass number with anybody with an ATM card. I've had so many people tell me that, I was at home and my caregiver or my house cleaner or, someone, my grandson, I gave him my ATM and I told him my ATM card and I gave him my passcode and I told him to get out $100 and to bring it right back. Well, they brought it right back and they brought me the $100 and I checked with the bank and it was only $100 taken out. Everything was great. So they thought, no problem. Slip it into their purse. And then 2 months later, the bank is calling them, telling them that they're overdrawn and what's going to happen. And they're going, wait a minute, I haven't taken out any money. I don't know what you're talking about. They look and sure enough, that nice person that they gave the ATM card to 2 months ago slipped it out of their purse just a couple of nights ago and they had their password. They got into that. They started taking money out of the bank. Well, the bank does not have to they're federally secured. They don't have to give you your money back. And you're going, why? I didn't give them permission to take it out. I only gave them permission that one time. Well, when you give them permission one time, it's a free carte blanche. They can open it and they can take it whenever they want to. Even though you got that card back, somehow they got it away from you when you weren't looking and they took out what they want. If you need money out of your bank, you take it out of your bank yourself. If you can't get there by yourself or on your own, get somebody to help you. Have them wheel you to the ATM yourself. You take the money out yourself. Do not give your ATM to anyone else. How to use the internet and stay safe. This is something that very strongly pro. I believe that especially during COVID, using the internet and staying connected to family and friends and being able to do your business online has been a game changer for a lot of us. A lot of us were home during COVID and we're home, even now because of COVID. COVID has changed how we do business and how we work on the internet. But please be mindful when you're on the internet to be safe. Don't talk to people you don't know. On Facebook, it's so easy. Someone sends you a friend's request. If you don't know them, don't accept it. Even if you see that they're friends with someone else, if you don't know it, you don't need to be friends with them. You don't need to make friends online with people you don't know. Don't give out your personal information to people online. You don't know who they are, and they're probably not who they say they are. And there's really no way for you to verify that. Oftentimes people are alone at home and getting on social media is easy. It's easy to make friends. These people are also trained and educated, and their main job and their main focus is to get your confidence and be your friend so they can take advantage of you. Not saying everybody is, but be careful. You don't need to be friends with people online you don't know. There are plenty of your family members and friends that you can connect with online. Just make sure who you're talking to. Make sure you know who they are. And you never have to give someone money to be your friend. It's okay to say no. You can always say no. You don't have to do anything anyone tells you to do online. Other financial abuses that I see that come across my desk are banking and unauthorized purchases and property title problems. Easy. It's easy to happen, and it's so hard to fix. I've had cases where I've seen that a nice care provider takes the victim to the bank and gets put on their bank account so they can help them with their banking needs. They can go pay their bills. And all of a sudden they're taking out more money than they're supposed to. No one should be on your bank account except someone you totally trust. Unauthorized purchases, or even purchases that you thought would be okay. I've had victims come and all of a sudden that they went to Ford dealership and they co-signed for their care provider or their housekeeper to buy a car because they needed that car to come back and forth to work or to take you to your doctor's appointment. All of a sudden they're not paying their car bill and you're on the hook for paying that car bill. Don't do it. Don't do it. You can find a care provider. If you need help with a care and you don't know who to trust, call the area agency on aging. They can help you with that. They can help you find someone that's been vetted and that someone's licensed and trained to do what you need to do. Don't trust people that you don't know, and please don't purchase or co-sign for anyone. Title properties. Make sure you keep your title safe, all your banking information. If you have someone coming in your house to do chores or housekeeping or take care of you in any way, make sure that you're keeping your documents locked up and safe. It's really easy to get a title or information and have those documents fraudulently titled over to someone else. Make sure you're staying safe. If you have any questions, you should talk to someone that you trust, a financial advisor. Life planning. This is something that you need to do ahead of time before you need it. These are some of the things that are good to talk about and good to plan for. That's a will, medical power of attorney, limited statutory power of attorney, designation of a guardian, advance directive to physicians. These are all things that you need to plan for before you need it, because when you need it, it might be too late for you to make those plans. make those plans ahead of time. Talk to someone in your family or someone you trust and make those things ahead of time. Let them know that there may come a time that they need to make some decisions for you, and this is what they need to do. If you have questions about life planning, if you have questions about wills or any of these documents, you can call Gray Law, Ventura County. You can email them, call them, that's their address. And they can give you advice of what you should do or advise you for what lawyer or law agency office to talk to. But make sure you get some real advice about these documents, because these are things you need to talk about before you need them. If you are a victim of any kind of fraud or financial abuse, any kind of scams, this is the first place you call. I would make a call to them. They'll give you a case manager and start the road to hoping that you get recovery. And why is it so important to report fraud and scams every time? Because this is how we stop it. We perpetuate it by feeling guilty or ashamed that it happened to us. It can happen to anyone. I see people every day that it happens to, and they wish that they'd reported, wish they'd told someone, because you could help someone else not have that same fraud or that same scam. I have victims on my caseload that have had hundreds of dollars taken from them. I've got victims on my caseload right now that's had millions of dollars taken from them. No amount of money is right to be taken from you. You work for your money, and this is yours. Don't give it away, but please report it if it happens. Reporting that, we can stop it. Why report fraud? This is from the Federal Trade Commission.
We all see scams. Even if we don't buy into one, we all get the calls, emails, and letters. Why are there so many? Well, scammers see us all as targets, so they keep trying to get our money, or social security number, or account numbers. And they're good at what they do. They know how to knock us off balance just long enough to take advantage. That's why we need a plan. So if you think you've spotted a scam, what do? First, tell somebody. The call or email might seem urgent, but slow down. Talk to a family member, friend, or neighbor. Tell them the story. Sometimes just saying it out loud helps. Maybe your friend got a similar message or knows someone who has. Or your story might just help your neighbor avoid that scam. Then, tell the Federal Trade Commission. The FTC sues scammers and works to shut them down. When you report a scam to the FTC, investigators use your information to build cases against scammers. Other law enforcement agencies can see the reports too and use them to further their own investigations. Your story makes a difference. Every report is a piece of the puzzle that lets the FTC see the full picture of what scammers are doing, and then stop them. Because scammers don't scam just one person, but you could be the one person whose story tips the balance, stops someone from falling for the scam, or stops the scammer. So tell your story. As soon as you think you see a scam, talk with someone, and then tell the FTC.
Yep, that's it. That's me again, senior victim advocate. That's my address, phone number, and email. Email is probably the fastest way to get questions answered. And I want to leave time for Carey to talk with Adult Protective Services. And I'm here to answer any questions. And if we don't get them answered today, you can always call me. You can always email me. I'm here to answer questions and help you through any kind of financial crime or scam that you have.
Thank you so much, Kelly. If you want to stop your screen share, and then we can have Carey share her PowerPoint.
Yes, hi everybody. It's really good to be with all of you. I am Carey Aldava. I'm the program manager for Adult Protective Services. I apologize in advance. I have a furry co-presenter next to me, my elderly cat Simon, so he may pop in from time to time. I'm kind of trying to keep him corralled left side of my computer. So apologies in advance. Let me go ahead and get my screen ready to share. My purpose today in being here is to share with you a brief overview of Adult Protective Services and how we partner with the DA's office, specifically Kellie's program, the Victim Advocate Program, and other agencies and organizations. And of course, happy to answer any questions you may have about the Adult Protective Services program. Okay, here we go. So I'm not sure how many of you might be aware that there was an age change to Adult Protective Services programs beginning January 1st of this year. So now an elder, for the purposes of APS programs, is now 60 and older. I don't know about all of you, but as I start to get a little older myself, that seems awfully young. But there were a few reasons behind that. One being that they wanted to provide adult protective services with an opportunity to reach elder abuse and dependent adult abuse victims in advance. If they're having issues with abuse or having some family dynamics, then maybe we have an opportunity to assist them sooner before it gets, really bad. And also a lot of programs, age-related programs specifically, the federal definition is 60 and older, so it's a little bit more in alignment with some of those aging programs. Some you may find through the Area Agency on Aging and other program agencies. So that's kind of the thought process behind it. So now, we're getting a lot more referrals as a result of that, because a lot more folks fit into that age category. So Adult Protective Services, we're a little bit different than some other eligibility programs that are out there, like CalFresh and Medi-Cal. There is no income requirement to become one of our clients. It's strictly based on the fact of whether you're an elder or dependent adult. So we see clients who are undocumented, and we see clients who have millions of dollars. So income is not a driver. You have to just fall into one of those categories and have a protective issue. So the taxpayer dollars is what pays for our program. So anybody that we see, they've paid taxes in their lives, and that they're eligible for our services if they meet that criteria. One way that we're different, we get compared a lot to Child Protective Services, and how we're different than Child Protective Services is that APS is voluntary. So we have clients that can tell us no. We make every effort to engage our clients, but at the end of the day, they have the right to say no if they're not ready to work with our program. So that's self-determination, and we honor people's wishes. But again, we make every effort to interact and engage with our clients. So what I mean when I say a dependent adult, some of you may not be familiar with that term, and that's someone that's for APS program purposes between the ages of 18 and 59 that has the inability to protect themselves or arrange for their own care. So them having a disability in and of itself is not does not make them a dependent adult. We all know plenty of people who are disabled in the community that work and are self-sufficient and take care of themselves. The disability has to prevent them from caring for themselves, arranging for their own care, or making decisions. So, and the disabilities, of course, can range. It could be a mental health issue like bipolar disorder, schizophrenia, could be a developmental delay like autism. It could be a physical disability like multiple sclerosis or Huntington's disease or one of those other neurological disorders, but the disability really has to interfere with their ability to make decisions or arrange for their own care. So I wanted to explain the term, what a dependent adult really means. When we're investigating reports, so we get reports from all types of parties. Some come in anonymously, some are from mandated reporters like law enforcement, medical practitioners, and so forth. We have an obligation to investigate that report. So some of the different reports of elder abuse, you'll see here on the screen, they can really range in variety. Physical abuse, self-neglect is its own category. That's something that most people aren't aware of, that self-neglect is a type of abuse of oneself. And then obviously all the other ones that you see here. I will tell you that the primary types of reports that we receive, number one is self-neglect, and number two is financial abuse. All of those scams primarily that Kellie was referencing in her presentation. And unfortunately, a lot of family members are taking advantage of their loved ones as well. And that's probably the second type of abuse that we see. Some of you may not be aware, but financial institutions, banks in particular, became mandated reporters in 2008. And just last year, broker dealers like JP Morgan Chase and Merrill Lynch and some of those other brokerage houses became mandated reporters as well. So they're a big source of our financial abuse reports and those types of scams that Kellie was referencing. And when it comes to, what are we looking for in an investigation? These are some of the signs of abuse that we're looking for. So it's not enough that someone's making an allegation. We have to collect evidence that the abuse actually happened. And that's what law enforcement requires of us. So our social workers are trying to collect information and evidence to paint the picture and provide data and information that this abuse actually happened. So for physical abuse, obvious things that you would think of: injuries, cuts, bruises. Unfortunately, in cases of sexual abuse, we're kind of looking for, maybe bruising in the groin area or other indicators that someone was touched inappropriately. Obviously, semen and different other indicators of sexual activity. When it comes to bruises, something in particular that's unique to older adults or people that take blood thinners, they can bruise easily. So we're not looking for random bruising. It's patterns of bruising, where they choked around the neck or they choked around the wrist. So looking for signs that they may have been mishandled by somebody in their home. Neglect, it could be inadequate food supply. We get lots of reports where loved ones are trying to care for their loved ones, but they're not turning them appropriately. So consequently, they're getting bed sores all over the place because they're immobile and they're not able to turn themselves. We get a lot of reports like that. It could be that they're under medicating them or they're over medicating them as a means of control, either direction. So that we see that a lot as well. It could be inappropriate home conditions. It could be hoarding by someone else or themselves. It could be vermin, rats, roaches, cockroach, mice and other little creatures running around their homes. We do see that from time to time as well. Financial abuse, these are the signs that you would really think of: suspicious transfers of property, maybe forged signatures on documents like grant deeds or bank accounts, things like that, wills, trust. Maybe this person has been frugal their entire lives. A lot of our older adults still visit the bank in person, and a lot of the tellers have known them for years. And so they know their spending habits and they more or less kind of know their lifestyle, if you will. And all of a sudden they're withdrawing, cash by the thousands, which is very unusual for this person. And so that's kind of prompting a report to us to go check in on that person's well-being and the state of their finances. Isolation, we get this one a lot from loved ones who may be out of the area, out of the county or out of the state. They have a good relationship with their loved one, but all of a sudden now this person's not returning calls, they're not returning emails or letters. Every time that they might be calling, there might be someone intercepting those calls. Oh, mom's sleeping, mom's at the doctor, mom doesn't want to talk to you. There's always kind of an excuse as to why this person can't come to the phone or to the door if they're coming in person to see. And then they're calling us to go do a well-being check, and we'll do that for them. So you might be wondering what happens when you make an adult protective services referral. So when we get a referral, we have 10 days by state law to go out and investigate that report. And we go unannounced. Other programs, in-home support and other programs, they call, they schedule appointments. We don't do that for lots of reasons. One, if there's an abuser in the home, we don't want to tip that person off and give them advance notice to hide the evidence of abuse. And for the person where it may be neglect of self, if they're really struggling in a certain area with hygiene or their home environment, we don't want them to pretty up their hygiene or their home environment for us if they really can't do that on a day-to-day basis. So we want to see them in their natural environment and in the current state and how they're managing, so we can get kind of determine their strengths and weaknesses and where they may or may not need some help. As you can imagine, a lot of clients find it very offensive that we show up unannounced. It's rude. It's just not something that you do. And so by all means, if they insisted on an appointment, we will by all means come back at a time of their convenience. On the other hand, a lot of clients are fearful to visit in their home if the perpetrator especially lives with them. We'll meet the client anywhere that they want to meet. We've met clients at coffee shops like Starbucks, at parks, at libraries, wherever clients are comfortable. We'll travel where they are. We do like to see their home just because it kind of gives us some insight into their whether it's appropriate and safe for them. But by all means, if they don't want to meet at home, we'll meet them anywhere that they're comfortable. So we have 10 days to go out and respond to the report. The goal is to engage the client and build rapport and trust so that they'll let us into their home, and they'll meet with us to conduct an assessment. So the assessment talks, asks questions about their social supports, their ability to care for themselves, their medical issues, their medications, and again, trying to ascertain areas of functioning where this person may need some help, and then to highlight what they're doing well and what they're still able to provide for themselves. The goal is to come up with a service plan to meet the person's needs should they require some help for the care of their person or in their home environment or even with their finances. So the partners listed here on the slide, we work with all of these partners and more. We're also a member of the financial abuse specialist team that Kelly is a part of, and that's such a big determining factor in giving our social workers support in helping to resolve complicated financial abuse cases. We get recommendations from the consultants to help us to move our cases forward. So they're a very important partner for us, along with the DA's office. All we do is collect the information for the abuse. It's our law enforcement partners that actually take the steps to try to prosecute the case or to give the victim support in court and all those different important factors that help our victims. So we're just kind of the starting point in APS a lot of the time. And we need to be able to hand off our clients to trusted partners like Kelly and her team and other partners that you see here to further their journey with trying to resolve the abuse and the neglect. We're very fortunate in our county. We have 3 wonderful public health nurses that work with us. So any of our clients who are experiencing medical issues, they're able to go out and see them. They don't do hands-on nursing like home health, but they can take basic vitals and they can be really instrumental in speaking to doctors' offices to order home health and other services, or just talk to the clients about their own disease process, educate them about their health concerns and so on. So we're very fortunate to have wonderful partner agencies. Area Agency on Aging is another huge one. We make lots of referrals to their agencies to help our clients. So something noteworthy to be aware of is that we are a short-term crisis intervention case management program. So our goal is to get in to the client's home, talk to them about the abuse, refer them to needed services, monitor the service plan, and then ideally we reduce or eliminate the protective issue and we close the case. Most of our cases are open between 30 and 90 days. That's the definition of short-term. So we don't have caseload caps, so we're constantly getting new reports every day. Last year, we investigated over 5,000 reports of abuse, and I can tell you right now that we're on pace to definitely exceed that this year so far. So we're very, very busy and seeing lots of people. Let's see, what else do I want to share? If you're not sure whether your situation or somebody else's may meet the definition of adult protective services, then this is a number that you can call. It's the APS line is the 658-4450. That's our consultation line. We have somebody available Monday through Friday from 8 to 5 who can help answer questions that you might have about abuse issues. If you want to consult with someone about whether you should make a report, they're there and able to consult with you and provide resource information to you about various topics, caregiving, legal resources, other resources. We can help to provide that information to you. If you do know that you want to make or you need to make an adult protective services report, this is the 24-hour hotline at the very top bullet, the 654-3200. There's someone there 24 hours a day who can take your report. I kind of like to end my presentation before we get into the questions and answers that you may have with just a really quick story that kind of highlights how adult protective services can help and the partners that we collaborate with. So within the last 6 months, we had a client living in the city of Ventura reported by actually San Diego County Adult Protective Services, one of our partners in the southern region of the state. And so they reported this client was a victim of a financial abuse scam. This woman's in her 90s. And so she was alleged to have been victimized out of, I think, $150,000, which all by itself is plenty of money to be victimized out of, right? So this case was assigned for investigation, but as the social worker began working the case, speaking to the client, speaking to banks, it was actually determined that she had lost $1 million. $1 million. So we worked with our FAST team for recommendations. Our social worker was able to work with San Diego County to get some more information, to engage the client's niece who had not been as involved as maybe should have liked to be. The client was kind of keeping her arm's length. I'm fine, I'm good, I don't need anything. And the niece wasn't really aware of the extent of the problem, but we were able to get the niece more involved. And so the niece was able to work with the bank to limit the client's financial transactions. As Kelly referenced, sometimes our clients can become so entrenched in these scams, they almost function as a source of social support for a lot of our clients who maybe their family members live far away, or maybe sadly enough, they've passed on. The older we get, unfortunately, sometimes we start to outlive our family and friends, and that's really devastating to our clients. And so something we've learned from our wonderful FAST coordinator, Debbie Deem, over the years is you have to help the client find another source of social support, because they've come to rely on those scammers. It's their kind of the reason for living. You have to help them find another reason for living. So that's something we try to do in APS. We try to help that client engage another support system, so they're more readily willing to let go of that contact with the scammer and hopefully protect the remainder of their assets. In this person's case, luckily, she still had assets to care for herself. Unfortunately, that's not true of many of the clients who are victims of financial abuse that we see. We've seen many clients over the years that have lost their entire savings in their homes. It's very, very devastating, as you can imagine. So wanting to share that story because it does highlight the partnerships, and this was a case that was brought forward for prosecution. So very exciting for our team to kind of see justice being served like that. So that's the end of my presentation. I'm going to stop sharing my screen now and turn it back over to Martha.
Thank you so much. Let me put, okay.
Martha, let me say something about Carey's story. That case is on my desk now, and it's being prosecuted, and I'm working with the victim and the victim's niece, and there's going to be testimony and highlight the defendant is in custody at this time.
Wow, that's amazing. Wonderful partnership. So sad that we have to handle these types of situations in the first place. It's just devastating to hear about. Hopefully everyone can see all three of us now, and I do have some questions for each of you. So first for Kellie, you touched on this, but I'm not sure if you have anything to elaborate on. What are some good tips to prevent online fraud from phony websites that look like retail stores?
Ooh, that's a really good question and a tough one. Better Business Bureau is always a good source. When there's a lot of businesses that are online, especially since COVID, that's how they do their business. You want to make sure it's a secure payment site. Just putting your information or your credit card out there and it's not secure, that's going to be a hard one. See how I say the best thing to do is not just look on that company's website of all of their reviews, because they're going to be reviews that they choose to put on there. But do a Google search and search that company's name, type in their name and reviews, and or Yelp them, see if there's any information out there about that company besides what's on that company's website.
Yeah, absolutely. And one thing I've learned too is in the browser on the left side, there'll be a little lock symbol.
Yes, a secure website.
So it doesn't necessarily mean everything's secure, but only deal with websites that have that little lock symbol, at least as a starting place, and not clicking links that are pop-ups on your screen or, And
I'm not advocating for any kind of particular business, but I oftentimes, because I have an Amazon account, I'll see a business that has Amazon Pay, and I can pay through my Amazon account. And I know that's a secure site. So I just look, like you said, for the lock symbol and make sure it's a secure site.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. That's a good tip as well. And then this question, Craig says, he realizes you can't promote a specific security site for the general public, but the three biggest ones for web security are Norton, Kaspersky, and McAfee. How can regular people make an educational, informed decision in selecting the best one for them, breaking it down to the various features they should look for or are recommended?
Ooh.
I don't know if that's your area.
That's really hard because those are oftentimes changing. I know I've had with my own computer that I've had like a blinking, very loud noise that says, your internet has been compromised or your computer's been compromised. Call this number for support. Don't call that number. Unplug your computer, whatever you have to do to get rid of that noise, but don't. That's a scam. That's a scam. Seek out maybe some advice from a computer expert. You can call Best Buy, maybe talk to their IT or their support, seek out the support, not an ad or an advertisement on the computer, but look up a number for your local IT support and ask them what's best for your computer. You may already have that service on your computer. You need to activate it, or you may have some advice for them when you buy a package software plan, but don't click on those ads because those ads are oftentimes scams.
A little off subject, but something that it made me think of that I've always been told is if you are going to use your Wi-Fi, like on your phone or a laptop in a public place, don't connect to a public Wi-Fi and then pay with a credit card on something.
No, don't connect, period, to a public Wi-Fi. Because as soon as you do, if there is a scammer or a hacker there, they can tap into your phone. Anything that you've paid for on your computer, on your phone, or any personal information. If you filled out medical forms or you filled out your tax forms, anything that you've done online there or on your computer, they're able possibly to see. Don't get on public sites, only go through your secured websites. If you log in, if you check into a hotel and they say they have free Wi-Fi, make sure it's a secured site that they have to give you a password to get into, not just free access to the public. Because they do have that. They have access, in your lobby. In the lobby, you can have free access. Make sure it's a secured site. That's important. You don't want to leave your phone or your laptop or your computer open on open Wi-Fi to anyone. And your phones these days are small computers.
Yes, they are. I don't know how I would live without mine.
No, need it.
This next question is directed for Carey. If the adult has developmental disabilities and is being seen by tri-counties, and the parent suspects that that adult is being taken advantage of by a boyfriend financially, what recourse would the parent have to protect that adult?
That's a really good question. And I would say that it really depends on the extent of the client's cognitive impairment. So if, let's say it was more of a really severe cognitive delay, then the parent would have the right to petition for a limited conservatorship through the court. And our agency can be really helpful in giving parents and other trusted people information about how to go about doing that. The self-help legal clinic through the Superior Court is a great place to get information about what conservatorship is, the responsibilities, and they would actually help you complete the paperwork to file for the court. So that's a pretty severe example. If the client is more of a high functioning nature, then sometimes we can work with the regional center. Sometimes the client might not trust their own parent, but they might trust their independent living skills worker. And maybe we can have a kind of a sit down meeting and include a trusted person that they like to have present and just talk to them about some of the concerns. There's not a lot of bill paying services in the county. That's one of my crusades, is to somehow bring more bill paying vendors into the county, because really bill payers is kind of it in terms of.
That's what I was going to say.
Yeah, they're the only.
And they don't necessarily have to be conserved, right, Carey? If they're having financial troubles or it's hard for them to do budgeting, they could hire a separate payee, a private company or someone that maybe is vendored with regional center that could just be the payee and help them with their budget or their bill paying.
Yeah, I will caution that though. We did have a case recently where one of the vendors, there was identity theft. And so I'm nervous now about recommending that. I don't know how they're vetting their folks. So I think someone that's licensed, I would recommend. I know Bill Payers is a licensed organization, or even the parents themselves can talk with the client's doctors about maybe becoming their own representative payee. That is something that has to happen with a medical form completed by the doctor, and then the parent themselves could file that with Social Security Administration. The thing that I know about Social Security Administration is that the client can't change the status of the payee without the doctor saying they have the ability to do that. So that's sort of a built-in safeguard around that process. So if a doctor did certify that the client needed a payee, the client just can't go arbitrarily change that. They have to have the doctor state now that they're able to manage their own finances. So it's kind of like a built-in safety net. So Those are some strategies. Not saying, of course, that all vendors out there through the regional center, I'm sure there are some who are helping pay bills that are very reputable, but I'm just nervous now because of that that incident that came to my attention with one of the vendors. We're not recommending anymore. We're not going that route now. So, but thank you, Kelly, for bringing up the additional option. Yeah, they don't have to be conserved in order to get a payee. They can get some basic help with budgeting, or if the family has means, there are private geriatric case managers that can do it too. So there's case managers that do it for a fee. So there's lots of different options, and our agency would be happy to provide some additional guidance around some of those subjects.
There's fiduciary companies too that.
Yes, licensed fiduciaries, private fiduciaries. The hard part about them is that they want a large estate because they charge a percentage of the fee. And a lot of folks on regional center assistants are on SSI and they're very low income. So sometimes they won't take cases like that. So that can be a barrier sometimes, but certainly reach out and you can contact licensed professionals in the community and they can let you know if they're able to do that service.
Thank you. I know it's 4, but I just want to take one more question and then we'll finish up. This is also directed to Carey. What do you do in a case where you're trying to respect a person's right to self-determination, but you observe them neglecting themselves?
Thank you. This is a fantastic question. It's one that we encounter quite often. And so that's what our staff has had to figure out over the years. You know, how many times do we go back before we're violating the client's right to self-determine? So for us, our practice in Ventura County is we'll take at least 2 refusals. So when we go unannounced, we're going out, we're introducing ourselves, we're explaining why they're there, giving the client some time to process who we are, why we're there. Because again, we gave them no advance notice. We just kind of popped on in. And we surprised them, if you will, with why we're there. That's very shocking to a lot of our clients, and they're very upset. A lot of the times, they feel very violated that someone reported them. Honestly, that's how a lot of our clients feel. They're very upset by the fact that we're there, and we do our very best to reassure them we're there to help you. We're not there to take you out of your home. We want to support you. We want to keep you as independent as you can possibly be, with lots of safety nets in place. So it's giving the client time to process that. A lot of the times, the clients will say no on the first visit. So then the social worker is going back the following week. Hi, Mr. Smith, it's me again. I'm in the neighborhood. I just wanted to stop by and say hi and give you one more opportunity. Can we just chat for 5 minutes so we can talk about some of these concerns and see if we can get you some help? If Mr. Smith says no again, we need to close the case, because at that point, we've given them multiple opportunities to work with us, and they're just not ready to do it yet. So I hope that answers the question. We do at least try one more time. We don't take no for the first answer, but if it's the second answer, we're going to close the case.
Thank you. I know that's a tough one. I really appreciate both of you taking your time today to talk with us. I'm sure there's other questions, but I will send out an email in the next day or 2 with a link to this recording. Oh, there comes the cat.
Sorry, yeah, that's Simon. Excuse him.
With a link to the recording with some additional resources that Kelly has provided, and then I can put contact information in there as well. So if any other questions pop up and you want to reach out and ask them, we're happy to. And I think to everybody listening, share the recording of this when I send it around. Check on your friends and family, because it's very easy to get scammed. It's very easy to be scared when someone calls you and tells you you're not going to get your social security check if you don't confirm your information right now. So we need to just keep reiterating that they're not going to call you. Don't answer calls. Be careful on the internet as much as we can to remind people and help keep them safe. So thank you so much to Carey and Kelly for joining us today. And for all of you, I hope you have a wonderful evening.
Thank you.